Season 8 of Hardwood Heroes. I'm Erik Threet II, and I will be your host for the next 8 weeks. We have plenty of time to talk about who drops buckets, who lays bricks, and any other relevant and important information in the TVC. You know I love the game of basketball, and I couldn't be more excited, so let's tip it off. On the agenda tonight, we will have our reporters break down 8 of the 9 teams in our coverage, and for the 9th team, I will have the honors of breaking down Nelsonville, York, and what's good in Buckeye Land. We'll have a bunch of new segments on the year. We have Baker's Breakdown being the first, online host Blake Baker, and I at the end of the show, and we'll make sure we'll reveal our Heroes of the Week. But first, let's take a look at the standings as of Friday for both the TVC-Hocking as well as the Ohio. In the Hocking, the defending champion, state champion, Lady Waterford Wildcats are setting the pace again this year. They find themselves 1 game ahead of Eastern, and their only loss was to the Lady Wildcats. At this rate, the Lady Lancers will almost double the amount of wins that they had last season, and the Lady White Falcons are still looking for their first conference win. And the top spot doesn't change for the boys' side, as Waterford is still undefeated in their conference. Hey, but watch out for Trimble. They're still vying for that top spot that they've possessed for the past 2 years. South Gallia, what happened? After being a top 3 Hocking team last season, they find themselves winless, sitting at the bottom of the conference with the Lancers. Now over in the Ohio, the Lady Spartans have shot themselves into first place. They're deadly with the deep ball, but don't sleep on Nelsonville, York. Their energy will fluster any opponent. Alexander topped them in their first matchup, but Nelsonville, York was one of 2 teams to hold the Lady Spartans to under 40 points. Now, if you thought the Lady Spartans were dominant, look at Vinton County. They are undefeated, and they've had more 30-point wins this season than single-digit ones. But watch out for Meggs in Athens. Meggs is undefeated in the conference, and Athens is only a game back. This is setting up a beautiful 3-team race for the TVC championship. But let's start with our first show. First place teams of the Hocking. Waterford girls and boys are rolling through the Hocking. So let's get on the good foot with Wildcat lead reporter Scott McDonald.
Thanks, Eric. We sit at about the halfway mark of the season, with both these teams really looking head and shoulders above the rest of the TVC Hocking. And with how the Lady Wildcats are playing lately, you would think that Coach Close would be at least somewhat pleased. But when you and I spoke to him following their Thursday win against Belpre, he was not smiling. He thought their effort overall lacked greatly and that they are not even near playing to their best capabilities. But a team that won state title last year, we knew coming in that expectations were going to be high. And really, that is what a great coach does. He cannot allow his team to become complacent, which success can often breed. Now, negativity aside, what impressed me during their win against Belpre was how well they moved the ball. It was not often that you saw a player taking a bad shot or dribbling themselves into a trap. They won handedly 54-30, with Allie Kern scoring 25 of those points. And coming off a loss against Alexander, I thought they responded in the best way they could. It's that kind of play and how well their big 3 of Kern, Megan Ball, and Rachel Adams play will help determine how deep of a run in the tournament the Wildcats can have.
Oh yeah, they definitely set a high bar for themselves. All they have to do is go out and handle their business. But the boys, they seem to continue that football dominance that they showed. What's going on with the Waterford boys side?
Well, it's just about as well as the girls team has performed. They won an impressive game, 69-48, but we begin to see a parallel between the boys and girls team. Both are in first place, and from what we see, are playing decent basketball. But neither coaches are quite satisfied. One glaring issue for the Wildcats was their lack of ball security. They turned it over 16 times, including a stretch of 3 straight possessions with a turnover. It was these turnovers that allowed Trimble to hang around for about 2 quarters. Luckily for Waterford, their 3-point game was going for them. They shot 44% from deep, making 11 threes. Isaac Huffman finished with 19 points, and Bryce Hilverding added 17. This win did break the division tie that they did hold with Trimble.
Now, you said that they won by 21 against one of the top teams in the Hocking. Why was Coach so upset?
Well, I mentioned the turnovers earlier, but apart from that, they also got off to a very slow start. They did not score until about 2.5 minutes in and looked like a team not ready to play another top team. Now, after the slow start, they did go on an 18-6 run to help consolidate it quite a bit.
Oh yeah, at this rate, both teams could be playing March basketball. Thank you, Scott. We will definitely have our eye on the Wildcats. But I would like you guys to keep your eyes on us. Keep up with us on Twitter. Be sure to follow us as well at Hardwood Heroes for easy access to our content. And you can follow your boy as well at Junior_3. We'll keep you all in good shape. up-to-the-minute updates on your favorite TVC teams, tag us. We love hearing everyone's 2 cents sometimes. And hey, look, you may even end up on our show with your tweet, so tweet at us. Now, one team I know is on Twitter is the Nelsonville York Buckeyes. They took 3 simple words that I said during Gridiron Glory and turned it into the hashtag. So I get to drop some nuggets about Nelsonville York for you guys. Let's start with the boys. They are 7-3. Last night against Wellston, or excuse me, Friday night against Wellston, Aaron Davis and Hunter Edwards seemed to be on the attack the entire time. They were aggressive, and it led them to a great victory against Wellston, coming off of a very emotional loss of Austin Milliken. And it's time to be extra. They are 1-3 in the Ohio, 3 games back of first. But let's talk about the girls. They are sitting pretty at 10-2, only 1 game back of the Alexander Lady Spartans. Now, they have been the most energetic team I've seen this year. Always on this pressure. It's just all about pressure. Defense, full court, all the time. I wouldn't want to go up one-on-one against Jessie Addis. She scares me. She's a monster. And it's going to be a pleasure seeing what they got all year. But let's talk about the Buckeyes' rivals. They're 2 games back of Athens. So let's talk about the Bulldogs with Taylor Nimmo. It's going well for Athens. Griffin Lutz has been putting in work.
That's right, Eric. Both of our Bulldogs teams are back in action. So first, let's talk about the boys. It's important to note that the Bulldogs are under a new head coach, Mickey Cozart. This season has been off to a great start as this team has only faced 1 loss this season, which was against the undefeated Vinton County Vikings. The Bulldogs came in hot by defeating River Valley by 41 points in their season opener, giving them momentum throughout the rest of the season. Although it hasn't been smooth sailing, the Bulldogs have consistently shown an attitude that is hungry for success, and I think that has been a crucial part of this team's solid start. Another key to this team's success is star player Griffin Lutz, who is back and better than ever. He has been a strong asset to the team by dominating offensively. The thing that makes Lutz such a crucial aspect to this team is his reliability. If Athens is ever struggling or under pressure, he shows up, and that is exactly why he's such a strong leader for this team.
Yeah, Griffin's season ended with injury last year, and he hasn't seemed to miss a beat. The girls would love to use a Griffin Lutz right now. What's going on there?
The Lady Bulldogs have had a slow but steady start to this season, currently sitting at 1-11. The girls may not have all the numbers and stats that jump off the page, but the growth that this team has shown is truly important to recognize. This year, the Lady Bulldogs are a young team. In fact, 7 other varsity players are freshmen, which makes this year a great year to focus on the fundamentals and build up a strong team for future seasons. Before the season started, Coach McNeil told me that his goal for this season wasn't necessarily just to win. However, he wanted his team to be competitive, and they have done exactly that.
They look pretty competitive against Federal Hocking on Wednesday.
That's exactly right, Eric. Although they did not come out with a win, losing 50-45, they were definitely competitive. They kept the game close, and it was back and forth the whole time. They executed their 2-3 zone beautifully, forcing Fed Hawk to shoot outside. They also had plenty of offensive action as freshman Laura Mandrick dropped 21 points. They have an aggressive attitude and a spark that I believe will result in some more wins for the Lady Bulldogs this season. The girls will travel Monday to take on Marietta, while the boys will host Parkersburg on Tuesday.
Yeah, all you need is a spark. Good work, T-Nims. We'll be looking forward to the games next week. Now, with 9 teams in our coverage and 16 in the TVC, it's impossible to fit all of the action into one 30-minute show. However, there's always a solution. Go to our website, woub.org/heroes. Our reporters will be posting videos and game stories on the website throughout the week, so you don't miss any of the action. The Eastern Eagles, they're another team that's all about action. Much like in years past, there are high hopes for the girls and question mark for the boys. I'm joined by Eastern Eagles reporter Joe Fracasso to talk about how the Eagles have played this season.
No question about it, Eric. The girls entered the season with dreams of getting back to Columbus, while the boys were looking to replace 4 out of the 5 starters from last season. Starting off with the Lady Eagles, even though they have every player that played meaningful minutes last season returned this year, and the results have shown that. As of today, they haven't played a single game since December 22nd, but have only lost once to start the season, and that loss came to last year's state champs Waterford, like you mentioned, who are tied with Eastern atop the TVC-Hocking standings at 9-1. The transition from Coach Burdett to Coach Parker has been flawless so far. Parker was an assistant under Burdett and has taken over the reins as head coach. Just watching the girls play, you can tell that they have bought into the new system. On top of that, you get returning junior Madison Williams, who has been exactly what the doctor ordered for this team. Williams is coming off of 2 season-ending injuries the past 2 years, but you couldn't tell she has missed a beat. Her return has not only helped Eastern offensively, but she's one of the most tenacious defenders in the TVC. You pair her with Laura Pollins, who joined the 1,000-point club on December 15th, and I truly believe the Lady Eagles have the best 1-2 punch in the TVC. Now, I fully expect them not only to contend for a championship in the conference, but make a great push and possibly make the state Final Four.
They definitely have high aspirations, and saying that they're the best combo in the TVC is high praise. But what about the boys?
Well, losing the 4 starters, like I mentioned before, is never an easy task for a team. Then adding in that they only won 5 games last season, and this year stacked up to be a tough one for the Eagles. Despite all of this going against Eastern, the team's currently 3-2 in conference and has a 3-5 record overall. Now, that overall record might not look the best, but only needing 2 wins to tie their win total from last year is pretty impressive for this team. Eastern has been led by the only returning starter, Jet Facemeyer, who has been asked to up his game even more than he did last year. Facemeyer was the true face of the team last year and has only gotten better. The emergence of his brother, Sharp Facemeyer, and Corby Catlett are helping set up what could be a successful season out in Reedsville. Getting a victory this week against either Waterford or Southern, and Eastern could contend in the Hocking.
And they better come ready to play. We already talked about Waterford, and Tyler Blevins from Southern can ball. But thanks as always for Joe. Great work. Now the Trimble Tomcats were putting in work, winning their first 4 games of the season. But now Coach Caldwell and the Trimble Tomcats have dropped their last 4. Trimble reporter Duncan Goldberg has the honors of telling us what's the problem out there in Gloucester.
Justice Jenkins, you knew there were going to be some growing pains. So far, this season has been foreign territory for Trimble coach Howie Caldwell. The Tomcats are 4-4. Let me repeat that. The Tomcats are 4-4. The past 2 years, the Tomcats didn't even lose a total of 4 games. On Friday night against the Waterford Wildcats, Coach Caldwell actually lost his first ever home game as the head coach for the Trimble Tomcats. Wow. It's definitely been something that we're going to have to get used to if they can't turn this thing around.
Now, you mentioned the Waterford game. That game was really big for both teams. What went wrong for Trimble?
Well, first off, let's give credit to where credit is due. The Wildcats are for real. But the Tomcats need to find a way to contest more shots. Waterford was able to hit 11 threes in the game, and a lot of them were just uncontested. It was a rough night for the Tomcats, but even though Trimble is 4-4, this team is still very good and obviously very well coached. I still expect this team to finish near the very top of the Hocking.
Yeah, they have plenty of time to make it happen. Last year was the first time the Lady Tomcats were above 500 in both conference and non-conference play since the 2010-2011 season. Now, the expectation is to build momentum, but that's not the case for Trimble.
Yeah, you know, the girls' team is in a lot of ways like the guys' team. They lost 2 great players in Nikki Kish and Morgan Murphy, so you assume they would take a step back, and they have. So far, the Lady Tomcats are 3-7 on the season. The reason why they're just not winning games is because they're really struggling on the offensive end. They're committing a lot of turnovers and only averaging a lowly 30 points per game. But there is a positive side. Coach Richards and the Lady Tomcats still have a very solid defense. Both Caitlin Spears and Emily Ward are constantly causing havoc on the defensive end, forcing turnovers and disrupting shots. But the problem is the girls are also really lacking in height. So sometimes their great defense goes for naught because they give up a lot of offensive rebounds. Now we will see if Coach Richards and the Lady Tomcats can grab a couple wins next week after not playing a single game since last year. The girls were hoping to record their 4th win of the season last Thursday, but the game was canceled just like many others and will be made up a different date.
The weather is no joke, Duncan.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Thank you for your insight. Now, my face is on the television a lot, but it's all about spreading the love here. During the week, go to our YouTube page and you'll see myself and our online host Blake Baker breaking down those TVC games with our reporters. And if you missed the show or missed the game or just appreciate me being extra, we have clips from each show on YouTube. Now, I've already taken the time to talk about our online host for Hardwood this year, Blake Baker, 2 times today. But now it's time to introduce him. He'll be a familiar face on the program. Blake, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Eric. I feel very welcome. It's January, hoop season is in full swing, and I am amped up for a brand new season of Hardwood Heroes. And January means it's getting mighty cold out there. It's like 10 degrees in Athens right now. But Vinton County's boys have weathered the snowy weather to remain red hot. The Vikings are 9-0 thus far, beating teams by an average of 21 points. Not to mention still boasting last year's TVC-Ohio title belt and pummeling other contenders for this year's. A loaded front court of Nayland Yates, Tristan Bartow, and Derek Jones contributes close to 50 points a game. 50 points. That's 2/3 of the Vikings' total scoring this season. Vinton County has been playing its absolute best basketball thus far, and don't expect them to let up anytime soon, with meetings with Meigs, NY, and Athens on the horizon. So the Vikes are rolling, but nobody knows a hot streak better than the Waterford Lady Wildcats. Before their nail-biting loss to Alexander 10 days ago, the Lady Wildcats had a 20-game win streak to their name, including last year's state title. Even crazier, they haven't lost a TVC-Hocking game since February of 2014, and that was to eventual state champ Eastern. In 11-plus seasons under Coach Jerry Close, Waterford's ladies have lost a total of 5 league games in 11 seasons, and failed to win or share their side of the TVC just once. Waterford rebounded with a big win against Belpre Thursday night, and if Close's girls play like the intensity he preaches, I think we could be looking at another long win streak in the making.
Oh yeah, the Wildcats, Lady Wildcats, they're bucket droppers. They're always dominant, but they took an L. Their streak is gone. Poof. Somebody else has to have a streak going on.
Oh, hold on. You're getting way ahead of me, Eric. Let me tell you about the Meigs boys, who are streaking like a bolt of lightning. Ooh. The Marauders were 0-4 after their first 4 games, but found a lot of confidence by toppling some TVC competition and even winning a tournament over the winter break. Looks like Meigs has really hit its stride offensively, continuously finding ways to bring home a W. But don't just take my word for it. Hardwood Heroes reporter Nick Mullins breaks it down a little bit further for you.
The Meigs Marauders Christmas break was a success, going undefeated while also traveling to Tennessee along the way for a tournament against some top-tier teams and coming away with the championship. Coming into the new year, on January 3rd, the Marauders came away with the 59-53 win over the Eastern Eagles to improve to 7-4 on the season. This win continued their hot streak with their 7th straight win. The Meigs Lady Marauders started off their season 5-4, and with the most recent loss on January 4th to Logan 51-40, they extended their losing streak to 3, falling to 5-4 on the season.
And Athens will be tough tests for Meigs in the coming weeks, but with the way they're scoring, better not count out the Marauders just yet.
Man, you'll know we'll be watching. We just watched Vinton County put up our second 90-point game that we saw this year. What does Meigs have to do to knock them off?
Well, Meigs has just got to continue scoring just like they are. Vinton County is the giant in the TVC right now, but Meigs plays really fast. They're really good at forcing turnovers, getting their eyes up court, and finding those outlet passes up court for those transition buckets. That's going to have to be a key for Meigs if they're going to topple TVC, or if they're going to topple Vinton County and win the TVC this year.
Yeah, we still got to look out for Athens too. Thanks, Blake. And you cool people. I think we're a fun bunch of people at Hardwood Heroes, and if you don't believe me, look us up on Snapchat at Hardwood Heroes for the behind-the-scenes looks at our show and content from our reporters while at games. Send us snaps of you and your friends at the game, in the stands, during warm-ups, in the locker room. Be weird, we won't judge. Maybe your snap will be named our Snapchat of the week, so follow us. Now, one school that doesn't need any promotion, we just mentioned them, the Vinton County Vikings, the reigning TVC-Ohio champs for both girls and boys. So naturally, the target is on their back. My man, lead reporter Jordan Gallagher is here to tell me how they fared this season.
Yeah, obviously that target is on their back, Eric. And while one team has fared better than the other this season, both teams could go off at any moment. First off, the girls. This season did not start off as they would have hoped, going just 4-6 to start the year. But that is to be expected when you lose the amount of talent they did. When you get right down to it, even with the slow start, Vinton County is still very much in the TVC race at 2-2 in the conference. A record that does not show they took a 10-2 NY team to overtime, giving them all they could handle. To add on top of that, 3 of the team's 6 losses have come against teams with 2 or fewer losses playing stiff competition. Like that early on can only serve a young team well late in the season. Now, Eric, if you were to ask me right now, will this team compete for another title down the stretch? Well, I guess I'd put on my big boy pants, summon up all my courage, and say yes. Coach Rod Bentley has proven time and time again he knows how to win big games, but the big reason is Sammy Thompson and Cassie Bentley. These girls are capable of the double-double on any given night, and if they catch fire, watch out.
Now, the girls, they're trying to get hot, but the boys, they've toasted everyone on their schedule.
Toasted? I don't know, man. I would say they've more than toasted. They've added a little chocolate, some graham crackers, a marshmallow, and ate them like a s'more. Not only is this team undefeated, but only one of their games has been within 10 points so far this season. The biggest reason for that? Experience. When 7 of your 15 players are seniors and 13 of those 15 are upperclassmen, you kind of have an advantage. When a few of those players are Tristan Bartow, Naylon Yates, and Derek Jones, you definitely do. It has seemed so far that those three have been in double digits every game, scoring as easily as they have dismantled opponents. And against in-conference teams this season, their average margin of victory, 22.5 points a game. Against all opponents combined, they're not doing quite as well, only winning by an average of 21 points a game. And since I've already made a bold prediction for the girls, figure might as well make one for the boys. This team is going to go undefeated in conference play this year. It's going to be a tough, long battle, but I have no doubt Vince Kenny can do it with the talent they have.
Hold on, the way the Vikings have been playing, that prediction isn't that bold. I think you could do better, but you know, it's okay. Thank you, sir, for being on the program, and I hope you're right, because if you're not, I will quote you later on in the season. Now, bold predictions for Vinton County. Federal Hocking reporter Rachel Walbrown has slightly less expectations for the Lancers.
Yeah, you know, Eric, I really doubt that this team is going to go undefeated anytime soon, because right now they're just looking for that first win. With A.J. Cobb no longer at point, the offense is struggling to find consistency in moving the ball. Point totals are slowly increasing, but turnovers are at an all-time high. When you're facing teams who are already able to drive the lane, the last thing you want to do is hand them more opportunities before even capitalizing on your own. In their highest scoring game thus far, FedHawk managed just 41 points. Now, senior Walker Church, grabbed just 7 rebounds that game against Wahama. The Lancers are essentially shooting themselves in the foot, allowing their opponents second chances, and that's before even giving themselves at least one. The 15 turnovers against Wahama could have been another 20 to 30 points.
Oh man, that hurts my soul. I thought we had it rough last year covering them, but they've hit rock bottom, and fortunately, the only way to go is up. So what's good with the Lady Lancers?
There is so much good flowing from that bench, Eric, even enough for a new JV team. And as for varsity, they still have leading scorer Destiny Tabler. With 5 threes against Athens on Wednesday, this girl's average continues to keep her team in the game. Passes have become quicker and sharper, which has contributed to fewer turnovers so far this season. Unfortunately, not every player is sinking the buckets the way Tabler is, so girls like Hannah Dunphy can't be afraid to drive the lane. Kaylin McPherson stepped up against Athens, almost matching Tabler's 22 points. However, as a more aggressive leader, her 4 fouls far before halftime kept her sidelined for a full 8 minutes. Now, this team has had a big turnaround this offseason, and once some pressure can be taken off Tabler, there will be a lot more wins in the Lady Lancers' future. Now, it's still pretty early in the season, though, so anything's possible.
Oh, yeah, I still have a lot of love for the Lancers. I really hope they can pull through. Thank you, Rachel. Now, last but certainly not least, both boys and girls teams for the Alexander Spartans had promising seasons last year and are looking to stay at that level. Alexander reporters Maggie Shandrick and Connor Martin are here to talk some Spartan basketball.
That's right, Eric. Both teams finished towards the top of the TVC last year, but let's talk about the Lady Spartans first. Currently sitting with an 8-2 record, the ladies return an experienced team led by sisters Leah and Rachel Richardson.
So far this season, the girls have beaten their opponents by an average of 20 points a game. Multiple players are able to hit shots around the arc, opening up the paint for senior Jayla Mace and other post players, making them dangerous on offense. Alexander's suffocating defense holds opposing teams to just 37 points a game, and this balance on both sides of the ball has allowed the Lady Spartans to defeat powerhouses like Lynchburg Clay and Nelsonville York.
Yeah, Connor, their offense can be very threatening at times, and that showed in a huge 55-52 victory over reigning state champions, the Waterford Lady Wildcats. Rachel Richardson was the hero of the night, hitting a buzzer-beating three-pointer, handing Waterford their first loss of the season, officially ending their 20-game win streak. This is the 3rd time this season they have knocked off an undefeated team.
And Maggie, the girls are currently riding a 5-game winning streak, while the boys, on the other hand, have lost their last 4. This rough start to the season was not totally unexpected, as the Spartans lost to 8 seniors. 4 of those starters accounted for 90% of their offense last year.
After starting the season off hot with a 3-2 record, the boys now find themselves sitting with a 3-6 record. Senior Chase Harris has been the all-around go-to player so far this season, scoring a lot of points down the stretch and dominating on the boards. Harris added 17 points to the Spartan offense in a big win against Trimble and another 12 in a 3-point loss to Minford.
But Maggie, the Spartans should keep their heads up high and stay confident, as there's a lot of optimism with this young team moving forward. An example of this is Alexander was able to hold Minford's leading scorer to only 2 points in their matchup.
Yeah, their season is not even halfway over yet. They have a lot of time to gain their confidence back and show teams what they are really about before postseason play begins.
Next week, the boys welcome River Valley on Tuesday night and head to NY on Friday, while the girls host Megs at home on Thursday night.
Tag team, making it happen. Thank you for the great work. Now the clock is ticking down, which means it's time to call on our Heroes of the Week. Blake Baker is back with me on desk, and at the end of every show, we'll share our Heroes of the Week. Blake, you're up first. What you got, man?
Well, I'll rebound a little bit off Rachel said. If you were number 23 for the Federal Hocking Lady Lancers, you had one heck of a week. Destiny Tabler piled up 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in a win over Athens Wednesday night. Tabler made her presence felt on each side of the court all night long and gave Athens fits. She assumed a huge leadership role after other starters got in a major foul trouble early and really picked up the slack. When Athens got hot and took a late lead Wednesday night, Tabler scored 8 straight points, including 2 of her 5 three-pointers to end that run and squash any of Athens' hopes for a comeback. FedHawk has now has 4 wins so far this year compared to 5 wins all of last season, which you know a whole lot about. And Destiny Tabler has been perhaps the most integral part in picking up those victories and really a big portion of their success so far.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's always good to speak positively about the Lancers. Still my squad. And I also love my hero, Austin Millie Milliken, a senior point guard at Wilson High School. He passed away Thursday morning at the age of 17. He battled arteriovenous malformation since 2009, a disease that less than 1% of the population has. He did everything in his power to live life like a normal kid, and there were so many things that he couldn't do, but you could never tell by the way that he carried himself. Always smiling, always doing the things he loved to do, like playing basketball. And I was fortunate enough to hang out with Austin the day before he got sick, and that was the day I learned what a true fight was. I saw firsthand how to make the most of a situation that you're dealt. I've never been around a person who was more determined to live, to be successful. He touched not only my life, but his family, his friends, his community, and it's unfortunate to see him go. But don't be sad because he's gone. Be thankful that he lived. We at Hardwood Heroes and Gridiron and WOUB send our deepest condolences to the Milliken family and the Wellston community. Millie, thank you for blessing everyone with your presence. Be easy, young fella. Now, thank you for joining me, Blake, but it's time to shut it down. And don't be upset. We will be back next Sunday at 11 o'clock p.m. Until then, you can keep up with your favorite TVC teams by visiting our website, following us on Twitter. You can follow your boy as well at junior_3. Don't forget to send us your Snapchats. Visit our YouTube page. But until next week, I'm your host, Erik Threet II, reminding you to be heroic.